Hello, and welcome to Living Legacies of the Ozarks. We're glad you're with us. My name is Hayden Head.
And my name is Sue Head, and we're here on the campus of College of the Ozarks at the Tractor Museum.
And every college should have a tractor museum.
Well, yes, it's a very interesting spot.
It is an interesting spot, and it shows the history and culture of College of the Ozarks, its agricultural roots, and the way it's changed kids' lives for a long time now.
Yes, and we have someone else who has done a great job of changing kids' lives here on campus, our good friend Steve Shepard. Steve is the
athletic director and men's head basketball coach. Steve, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
How long have you been at College of the Ozarks?
Well, this is year 23.
23.
23.
Wow.
Probably if you had to 23 here and 39 overall as far as being in the teaching, coaching world. So,
wow.
I'm sure you have seen some lives changed in that period of time. Why don't you just tell us some about your time here at College of the Ozarks and your interaction with your athletes and where you see the program going from here. I know that's a lot of questions, but
right. No, I'm excited. Anytime you get a chance to talk about coaching, College of the Ozarks, and when I got the job here, it was a pretty cool story with my wife being gone on a mission trip, and I was coaching at Evangel at the time, and Evangel won the national championship, and during that time I'd already applied here, and because Coach Waller had resigned early, and so my wife and I would come down and just kind of envision what would it be like to be at C of O and in Branson, and so we ended up winning the national championship, and 2 days later I interviewed here, breakfast at the Friendship House, and taught in the for the interview, and I remember Coach Waller was part of the interview process, and I remember teaching this class and just kind of a part of the interview process, and I look over at Coach Waller and he's doing this, and he claims he was he wasn't feeling well, and so we like to joke about that and tease, but it's been a great 23 years, and couldn't thank Coach Waller enough, and all the people that were here when I got the job, and continued. People change, but what a wonderful place to be a teaching coach.
Well, Steve, we know that you've had a lot of successes here, so I'm curious to know, when you're recruiting players to play here at the college, it's an interesting mission, because you're looking for players, but you also are looking for players who are going to be willing to work for their education. So tell us about that process.
Right. Yeah. It's we like to tell them, it's not for everybody. You've got to be academically sound, and character-wise, you got to be what we're looking for. But then you got to be a really good basketball player as well. So you're looking for the total package, and we try to recruit locally as much as we can. But sometimes we've had players as far away as the country or the island of Grenada, or Texas, and so we have got out of the area somewhat. But I like to tell our recruits that I need to be able to envision you as I'm driving in here at 5:30 in the morning for off-season weights, that you would be one of those guys that's walking to work and doing it without complaining, and that I could trust you to be a servant and have a servant's mentality, and ultimately it's everything that we do here for a recruit, or we tell them it's for your good. And we do have rules, we do have standards, but everything is for your health and for your well-being, and so not for everybody, but the ones that do come here and want to be here, and that's a large part of it, is we want recruits that we want them, but they also want us, and that's important. If you really have to push somebody to hurry up, make a decision, why don't you come here, it's probably not going to be a good fit.
Right, that makes sense.
Can you share with us any stories about a particular player that stands out to you over your tenure here?
Yeah, probably a guy like Michael Bonaparte, who was part of the national championship team, and was he was from Grenada. He was at a JUCO in Oklahoma, and they let him go because he wasn't quite working out, didn't maybe work as hard as they were looking for, and they had actually placed him there, and I go pick him up in Miami, Oklahoma, and bring him for a visit, and I told him we were basically done recruiting, but we needed to get a little more athletic, and so he came and played with our guys. Actually, there was graduation chairs were out, so we had to play on the outdoor courts. And he did a 360 dunk and came up and smiled and said, "Am I athletic enough for you, coach?" I said, "I think you'll do." And that was kind of the rise of the program, and ultimately led us to a national championship. And we established the program at that point where we had some success, and it just kind of continued. So yeah, he'd be a good one. But so many great guys that are out doing great things now, coaching and teaching in the business world, and helping in all walks of life. So that's probably the neatest thing is seeing what they're doing now, and they help us recruit as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I know a couple of your players have come back to School of the Ozarks and taken leadership roles there and done an excellent job.
They have.
Howard, the chief financial officer. Dr. Weston Wiebe is one of our players, and Mike Wiebe is now at School of the Ozarks. And so
Scotty McIlvain was there.
Yeah, he was there first. So yeah, great guys and great memories.
That's great. When we think about coaching in today's culture, there's a lot of different styles. So how would you describe your approach or your coaching style with your players? Because I don't see you throwing chairs or anything, so I'm just curious.
Bobby knighted as far as I could tell.
Yeah, back when I first started, it was, that was more of the style. But even then, I was more like I am now, not an intimidator or trying to coach by fear, but just trying to develop relationship and teach the game and do it in a manner that is honestly, you can't coach if you're angry or you're mad or you're trying to be overly over the top with your work in the officials or things like that. There's certainly a place for that, but actually my coaching mentor was Bobby Knight. I probably learned more from his books than and videos than anything. But
that's a surprise.
Did not pick up his demeanor. Did not carry his on-court stuff with me. But and then as you coach, you learn that it's really about motivation. It's really about getting your players to buy in and to do the things that you want them to do, and to accept coaching, and but do it in a way that they buy in as well. So yeah, I mean, it's part of leadership, and being athletic director is similar. You've got a group of coaches that you're mentoring, and you're trying to lead them well. And then we've got some great coaches here at C of O, and some of them are young. Most of them are young. Coach Richardson and I are definitely the elder statesmen, but it's a great opportunity as well to lead the athletic department. It's certainly at a Christ-centered school. It's easy to have a Christ-centered athletic environment, so that's what we strive for.
Very good.
You talked about Michael Bonaparte and his contribution to the team when y'all won the national championship, but I'm sure you've had other stories that have transpired over time, just about lives changed. Maybe they didn't become champions, but you just saw something sort of flourish in that player. Do any of those stories come to mind for you as you look back?
I think part of what we've done over the years is take mission trips to Guatemala, El Salvador, Dominican Republic, and I think those are the trips that several of our guys would say that was the highlight. And on my wall, in my office, I've got pictures of Mike Wiebe be one of them, other guys that are giving their testimony in front of a crowd over there, and whether it's at halftime or at a clinic. And so you've got guys that are sharing their face publicly. So to me, that's a highlight for me, is the mission trips and being able to take those and using the game of basketball to spread the gospel. I mean, that's really the way I look at coaching. Is it's a ministry for me to be able to bring guys in, and everything that we do as a basketball program is to glorify God. And so when you have the chance to take your athletes, and some of them different phases or different walks of faith, but it strengthens all of them. And some of them that maybe didn't have a strong walk, they get to see that side of life when maybe people less fortunate. And then so I think seeing guys like that, it's been a thrill to do that, and just seeing guys give their life to Christ. We've done some baptisms with our guys on our retreats in the lake, and just sharing the gospel. And this year we're starting out with Romans, which is treating each other with brotherly affection and competing to see who can honor each other the most, because that's what Paul says. We're competing to honor one another. And so that's the verses for this year. And so that's kind of what we'll strive for, is the one another theme of love one another, care for one another, all those Bible verses that talk about what you can do for one another.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So I've got a word for you that I just learned from a friend of mine who taught here, and one of his students used this word. He didn't quite get it right, but it sounds like what you're talking about, competing to love one another. The word that this young man came up with is coopetition. So it kind of seems to summarize that, doesn't it? Sometimes a word just a little bit off can actually have a lot of meaning.
Well, Steve, we appreciate your leadership on campus and the fingerprints that you have made on this institution and the lives of your players. I wouldn't want to forget to mention that your wife is also doing that here in another capacity on our nursing faculty. So we're really grateful for the influence that y'all have had, and even in your own home. So can you tell us just a little bit about your kids and some other kids who have come to live with you?
Sure, yeah. When we moved to Branson, my wife was already a registered nurse, but she took the year off, and we lived on campus for a year. And then she was the general contractor. We built a house, and we didn't finish the basement, and just financially, and then we decided a couple of years later to finish it, and then it became kind of a hospitality bonanza for different walks of life. So we had friends, we had strangers at times that needed a place to stay or needed a room. So we've had students from here. So it's the old not just treating your friends, but also treating strangers with love and compassion. So we soon realized that our basement and the house that we had was for a purpose, and my wife was more of the instigator, and I agreed and followed along and said, that's a great idea. And then sort of the same with getting into foster care and her idea, and I said, okay, let's see how that goes. And so we did get into foster care, and we've got 2 girls that we've had custody now, guardianship for close to 13 years. One of them is now a student here, and when we got her, she was in 4th grade. And so having my wife being here and then living in Branson, and the opportunities that we've had to show Christ's love, we've taken opportunities to do that and never regretted it. There were some challenging times for sure. Sharing a house with another family with 3 kids was a bit of a challenge, but it's all good. So yeah, that's life with Karen.
Yeah. Well, we love her too.
We certainly do, and I appreciate your mentioning hospitality. That's actually one of the words that we want to convey as part of Living Legacies, is because Branson is a place of hospitality, and your work with your players and athletics. One quick question though, before we sign off. You had mentioned something about a program that you're working on now, kind of a new trajectory that's in conjunction with Campus Christian Ministries here. What do you have cooking there?
Well, I think mental wellness is an issue everywhere. Certainly, our campus is no different, and our athletic department is the same. And so I had an opportunity to listen to a sports person who had a background of challenges in his life with the pressure of being an athlete. It comes usually, for athletes, it comes at a young age with the striving to be great at your sport and spending time with it and excelling. But really it's kind of our culture now is everything's got to be fast. You got to hurry up and graduate, hurry up and get a great job, hurry up and make money. We've got kids taking dual enrollment classes to get out of high school or shorten their time in college. Instead, I'm just going to go to college and enjoy the whole experience. So you just see the push in sports and athletics and the summer ball and to be great and to get a scholarship. And so our athletes are no different. They've come up in an environment of different environments, but the pressure, I think, is greater. And I don't know that our athletes and young people are handling it as well as we used to. So I think we've got to be recognize that we've got to do some things in my world, it's for our athletes, and it takes maybe some of the pressure off campus wide. And so we've we're exploring opportunity, what we can do for athletes to help with their mental wellness and give them opportunities to in a Christian environment to cope better and to be satisfied with who they are in Christ and that their best is good enough. And so we're going to keep working on that, and hopefully we can get this program off the ground, and we're going to see a lot of benefits from that. But thankful for the school for all they do for our athletes, and we're just going to try to help even more.
Very good. Now, what a great program. And like Sue said, I couldn't say anything better. You and Karen have just left your fingerprints on so many students' lives and on this college. Thank you so much, Coach Shepard, for being with us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
to be here. You bet. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being with us here at Living Legacies of the Ozarks. We hope you have a great day. Living Legacies of the Ozarks is brought to you by Ozark Mountain Legacy, College of the Ozarks, the Hershin Family Foundation, Meyer Hotels, and Sight and Sound Theaters.